Hello everyone, good afternoon. Now today we are going to start with the second part of your business law. That is your Act 3, that is your Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 and your Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Now, before we are starting with the first act, you have to understand that these acts are something related outside the scope of your regular contracts. Now, this is when we are going to talk about your Negotiable Instrument Act of 1881. Now, this act, as the word says, negotiable instrument, negotiable, which means to say which can be easily transferable, and instrument, which means to say it has to be a document. So when a negotiable instrument, a transferable document which is in writing, can be called to be as a negotiable instrument as per the act. Now, when we are talking about a negotiable instrument, it basically means, as per section 13, a negotiable instrument means a promissory note, a bill of exchange, a check which is payable by order or to a bearer in writing, then it is going to be called to be as a negotiable instrument. Now, further you have to understand what are the essential characteristics of a negotiable instrument. If I document which I need to call it a proper negotiable instrument, how can I call it? I have to know few of the essential characteristics. First of all, a negotiable instrument should always be in writing only. Anything which is in oral statement cannot be called to be as a document. It cannot have a future reference. That's why a negotiable instrument should always be in writing, be it your promissory note, your bill of exchange, or a check. Secondly, a negotiable instrument is always payable by money only. So whenever we are going to make a document against which a party is giving the assurance that I am going to pay a some amount of money, that a particular instrument is going to include a amount of money, be it 50,000, be it 1 lakh, 5 lakh or 50 crores, that has to be specifically amounted in a payable in a monetary form only. It cannot have a kind. Third part, when we are talking about a negotiable instrument, it should have an unconditional promise or order to pay for the same. And unconditional, see, always remember, a contract can have a condition, but a negotiable instrument, have you seen a check is having a condition? A person wearing a red color shirt can only come and collect the money. No, never. That is the reason whenever you are talking about a negotiable instrument, it should always have an unconditional promise or an unconditional order. Fourth part, see, the next part which is talking about freely transferable. A negotiable instrument can always be freely transferable from one person to another, from another to another, and another to another, and so on. That's why it is going to have a free transferability of the negotiable instrument. Next thing, when we are talking about a negotiable instrument, it is always considered to be a property. Now, property for the holder whose name it is having mentioned in the negotiable instrument, and that is the reason the person who is possessing or person whose name has been mentioned, owner, can have a right over that particular negotiable instrument or a document or through which he can get a money and transaction. That's why it is having equivalent validity of a property. Next thing, when you are talking, it is having some kind of presumption. That is, unless contrary any consideration is been there. For example, I am taking a loan from the bank. Now, with which I will have to give a surety, for which I will have to give something in writing, for which I will be required to give a promise that yes, in future I am going to repay the amount of money. So that is known as a presumption is there in case of your negotiable instrument. So a negotiable instrument is always can be freely transferable, but pre-presumption that the parties who are there in the transaction has made some sort of promise. And the last part, when we are talking about a negotiable instrument, it should have all the essentials of a valid contract. All the essential, be it your consideration, be it your free capacity, your free consent, capacity to understand the contract, or even your object must be lawful. So all the essentials of the valid contract should be there in your negotiable instrument. So once again I am repeating, what are the essentials of the negotiable instrument? That is, it should be always be in writing, then it is payable by amount of money, it should have an unconditional promise or order, it can be freely transferable, there should be a property that can be also be called as a property for the person who is holding it. It is always having a presumptions that in future one party is going to transfer to the another party. And lastly, the essentials of the valid contract. Now please students, one trick for you people, if you remember all the essentials of the negotiable instrument, automatically you will be able to understand the rest of the three parts of your negotiable instrument act, that is your promissory note, bill of exchange and check. So always remember the basic criteria which is there in your negotiable instrument. Okay, now over here we are going to discuss about your promissory note, now which has been dealt in under section 4 of your negotiable instrument act of 1881. Now first let us define what exactly is a promissory note, and further I am going to give you the example for the same. Now a promissory note is nothing but an instrument in writing containing an unconditional undertaking by the maker to pay a certain sum of money only to or to the order of certain person to the bearer of the instrument. That means to say, one person promising to another person, which is an unconditional promise for paying a certain sum of money on behalf of the maker, and that is called to be as a promissory note. Now for better understanding, we can also be called as a promissory note. Something is relevant, I think so you people must have dealt with it in our day-to-day lives as equivalent to your pay order or a demand draft. Now when we are making a particular demand draft or a pay order, we are asking the third party, that is your bank, to pay a certain sum of money to the other third party for whom which we have already made the payment. Now for the better understanding, let's see the essentials of a valid promissory note, similar to the way we had done with our negotiable instrument. Now first of all, as what we had seen, similar to your negotiable instrument, your promissory note should always be in writing only. If you have made a oral promissory note, it is not going to have validity. See, when we are talking about a negotiable instrument, it should always be in a writing. A contract can be in a oral way, but your negotiable instrument, your document should always be in writing. The second part is that your how many number of parties. When we are talking about your promissory note, it should have two parties, that is your maker and the payee. Maker is the person who is making the negotiable instrument, who is going to get the money in future, and he is going to get the benefit of that particular promissory note. That's why there are two parties involved in this, that is your maker and the payee. Say similarly manner, your third part includes your promissory note should always be an express promise to pay. Over here, expressly I am making a promise that I am going to make you a payment of XYZ amount of money in future, in the future date, and that is going to have a authenticity, and that is called to be as I am as a maker and I am going to pay you the amount of money. So that is I am making a promise for the same. Now similarly, when we are talking about your promissory note, it should also be very much unconditional and definite. Unconditional means there are not going to be any condition in your promissory note. See, in your contract there can be a condition, but when you are talking about your promissory note, there is not going to be any condition. You are going to make the instrument as it is, definite. What do I express? That yes, on following date, 1st of January 2021, I am going to make you the payment of 1 lakh of rupees with this much amount of cash, or this much amount of check, or this much amount through your account transfer. So that is the definite way of making a promissory note. Then next, we are moving to the next part. It is a promise to pay money only. See, similar to the manner when we had talked about your negotiable instrument, your promissory note is also one of the negotiable instrument. So that's why over here it has to be money only and nothing else. No, I can't say ki, okay, I promise to pay you a car after 1 month. No, it has to be a money amount which has to have a specific amount of requirement as per your transaction or your contract. Next is your promise to pay certain sum of money. Now money you are going to pay, so I can't mention over there XYZ amount. No, when you are going to make the payment, it has to have a specific amount of money. That means to say 1 lakh or 2 lakh or 5 lakh or 10 lakh or 20 lakh. So that means to say I should have mentioned a proper certain sum of money. Moving to the next part, there are parties who are certain. So now where we are going to make the payment. So okay, I am going to make payment to Mr. Raj, or I am going to make payment to Mr. Raju, or I am going to make the payment to Rima. So what is this? This is a certain parties who are been definite. Why that is that? So that in future when a party comes to claim money from me, so I should be knowing whom I need to pay. For that reason, parties have to be certain and it has to be priorly only mentioned. Do you people remember when you are taking admission in the college, you are making a DD, okay? Now in that DD, are you not mentioning the college name? Yes, absolutely. So you are mentioning the XYZ college name and directly bank is going to give that amount of money whenever the college is going to come and demand for the money. So that's why your promissory note should always have the party's name or certain parties being mentioned over there. Next part, whenever you are going to talk about your negotiable instrument, it has to be a proper signature. Until and unless a signature has been mentioned in your promissory note, it is not going to have authenticity. So that's why it has to be in writing, but at the same time it should have a proper signature also. Plus at the same time, when we are making a demand draft, do you people remember even you are required to have some stamping from that party who is making it, and that's why when we are getting them made from the bank, he is going to give us a stamp of the manager of the bank or any other authority. So that's why a person who is making it has to have the proper bearer stamp also. Other formalities, whatever is required, other formalities means to say when I am making a DD, I have to pay a requisite amount of money or fees or any particular transaction. So that means to say all the formalities I will have to do it as required by the promissory note as per the act. And next, intention of the parties to enter into the contract. Now this is very important. When I am having an intention to deliver that particular document, transfer that document from one person to another, then only it will have some particular performance. Why? See, currently I am saying so, okay, I am making a particular DD, but I am keeping that DD in my pocket and never transferring that particular. Is that particular document going to have any value? No, it is not going to have any value. So that's the reason your intention should be there for delivering or transferring that particular instrument to the other party. And last but not the least one, but very important one, that it should have proper all the validity of the essentials of a contract. Until unless that is fulfilled, your particular promissory note is not going to be called to be as a proper promissory note. That means to say it has to be made by a capacity of person, it should be having a free consent, should be a lawful legal manner. That's why, see, these were the 12 essentials when I am talking about your promissory note. First, it has to be in writing. Number of parties, 2 parties are there, your maker and the payee. When you are talking about your promissory note, it should always be in an express manner. Express money, it should be definite and unconditional. It should be a money amount only. Second, certain money which has to be specified. Parties should be certain. Signature should be there. Stamping of the parties should be there. Formalities have to be fulfilled. Intention to deliver that particular document should be there, and at the same time all the essentials of valid particular promissory note or a contract should be fulfilled. This was your part when we are talking about the essential of promissory note. Now, there are different kind of promissory note, that is inland, foreign promissory note. This part is something similar to your different types of your check, also different types of your bill of exchange. So when we are going to do that particular part, at that time we are going to talk about inland, means to say a promissory note made within the country, that is called to be as inland. Foreign, when a particular promissory note is made outside the country, that is called to be as a foreign promissory note. Thank you. We are stopping for over here only.